Batman is one of the richest superheroes in comic book history. His massive wealth is a big part of his ability to protect Gotham. Today I'm gonna break down all of Batman's assets, separating them into legal and illegal assets. Disclaimer, all of this is conjecture, as such the numbers won't be accurate, and don't forget to like and subscribe. The first legal asset is the Wayne family fortune. As heir to the Wayne family, Bruce receives a majority share of Wayne Enterprises. I don't know the exact amount, but I would say 57%, which is the same amount the Wayne family owns of Wayne Shipping. As for how much the company is worth, I don't agree with it being around $31.3 billion, as it would be one of, if not the largest company in the DC universe, which I get into in What Does Wayne Enterprises Do? I am not sure exactly how much, but I would estimate it to be closer to Amazon's market cap of $1.5 trillion. An example of this is how Wayne Enterprises secretly funded the Watchtower. Compare it to the real-life International Space Station, it would cost $150 billion plus $4 billion in yearly maintenance. The fact that it was hidden in the Wayne R&D budget and no one was suspicious of $150 billion just disappearing like that means that the budget must be massive. For this video, I'm going to estimate it at $1 trillion as the market cap, and if he owns 57% of that, that would mean $570 billion of shares. He would also receive any properties owned by his family. The biggest one is Wayne Manor, along with any items inside. In the Dark Knight trilogy, it's estimated at about $32 million, though it could be more depending on the location, housing market, modifications Batman has made, but I'm gonna keep it at 32. Now there's also a plethora of items inside the manor that he inherited, such as jewelry, suits, dresses, antiques, paintings, sculptures, books, etc., that all vary in price. I would say an average about $100,000 for all the items, though there's definitely going to be outliers that are either priceless, like a painting, or because of the custom-made design, may be worth over $1 million. But I can't be sure without seeing exactly what's inside. Now, while not part of the inheritance, the house also has multiple cars, at least 3 or 4, which are usually supercars, which could be priced anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000, but up to $800,000 plus, depending on the customization. I'll keep it at $500,000, and if it's 3 of them, that would be $1.5 million. Lastly, as part of his inheritance, Bruce Wayne would receive any liquid assets from his deceased parents. Though it depends on the will, I'm just going to assume they give it to him. That means bank accounts, bonds, and no doubt a large life insurance policy, because it's beneficial for those with a high net worth, as it has many tax benefits. I'm going to assume they took one out. And it could be from one person, like just his father, or both, as his mother is actually from a prestigious family herself, the Kane family. Now, I do understand that a portion of this money might have gone to charity. I would estimate the money he received from his parents would be around $8 to $10 million, as they could definitely have multiple trusts for his schooling, foreign offshore accounts, bonds, and whatever else. Along with it, the sizable life insurance policy. Now, if I base it off of an actual billionaire that took out a $201 million policy in 2014, but I think that's too much, so I'll divide it in about half at $100 million. So in total, around $110 million Bruce Wayne would have starting off. And of course, a portion of this went to his training. He used his money to learn new things, get into exclusive areas, travel all around the world, all of which is pretty costly. And it would have probably cost anywhere from $5 to $8 million, depending on how much he would throw away just to get what he wanted. But he would still have $102 million left. The next asset is that Bruce Wayne is the CEO of Wayne Enterprises, giving him a substantial yearly income, which is about $14 million, though it can definitely be more, along with bonuses. I don't believe he donates the entire amount of his earnings, as one, it's important to keep the money to further his false identity as a playboy. And secondly, this cash could be useful to keep as an emergency fund in a bank with a high level of privacy like the Swiss bank, in the off chance his identity is revealed and his assets are seized. So I'll round it to 11 million in yearly income that he keeps. As for illegal assets, it would be all the Batman paraphernalia he uses, as it is stolen property. He doesn't purchase them with his own money, but he takes prototypes and material from his company and improves them. But there are other investors in Wayne Enterprises that don't know about his activities, and so it would be a form of embezzlement, which I believe to be larceny. Now the first illegal asset is the Batmobile, a custom-made vehicle with non-lethal weapons, bulletproofing, a jet engine, powered by what I assume is a nuclear bomb, with one of the most complex auto drive systems ever. The Tumbler from the Dark Knight trilogy would be $3 million. However, I would say it's closer to the price of a tank at about $6 million. Besides the Batmobile, there are other complex vehicles, such as the Batwing, the Batcycle, the Batboat, etc. For this, I'm just going to cover 3 of them that I mentioned before. The Batwing can cost anywhere from $60 million plus up to $200 million for a high-end product. I'll say about $90 million. Batcycle can cost anywhere from $14,000 to $80,000 depending on the modifications. I'll say $40,000. The Batboat can cost anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million plus depending on the modifications, just like every other vehicle, but I'll estimate it at about $600,000. The next asset is the Batcomputer, a supercomputer used for data-intensive and computation-heavy scientific and engineering purposes, along with scanning for police reports, and connected to all of Batman's gear. The price of a supercomputer ranges from $100 to $200 million, so I'll split the difference at $150 million. The third asset is the Batcave. Now, while the cave itself came with the house, the steel reinforcements, the many platforms, elevator, power, along with the many secret entrances, are very expensive. Not to mention, he also has alternative and satellite Batcaves throughout the city, like in Wayne Tower, the Clock Tower, in the Arkham games, Batcave East, Northwest Batcave, Batcave South, and many more. One estimation is that the cave's construction would cost about $7.2 million, but it would need to be multiplied by at least 10 times to account for all the satellite Batcaves he has, both in Gotham and throughout the world. So I'll round it to about $70 million. The most important part of these tools is the added value Batman puts in through his intellect. He improves these prototypes to be fully functioning, which would spike the value to any potential buyers. An example is in Batman Beyond, where Terry McGinnis exclaims how despite its age, the Beyond suit is still cutting edge. Now that was about a 20-year difference or so between the Beyond suit being made and Terry finding it. I would estimate a 10 to 15 year advancement period for most of the gadgets he uses. This is plain to see, as all the items I mentioned previously are standalone to any of its possible counterparts. These amazing advancements would have private investors, foreign governments, supervillains, etc. rushing to buy it or steal it, to reverse engineer the advancements and improve their own tech. So it's very likely for an increase of millions, maybe even billions of dollars depending on the item in question. For this though, I'll estimate a $10 million increase for the bigger items. Now, I left out the suits from the previous lines for a good reason. The regular Batsuit could be about $1 million, probably more depending on how many customizations he wants. However, the high-end Batsuits are essentially priceless. The two I'm referring to in this video are the Justice Buster and the Hell Batsuit. The Justice Buster was created by Batman to fight the League if they ever went rogue. The first ability is the Bind of Veils, used to incapacitate Wonder Woman. It's an inverse of her lasso of truth that puts her into a delusional fantasy where she is continually fighting without winning. Second is the hyper-fast servers, which process information faster than the Flash can unless he's at optimal speed. The frictionless fluid cannon it shoots out frictionless fluid aimed at the Flash's feet and activates even before Batman can react. Powdered magnesium carbonate cannon for Aquaman that removes water from the body better than any other substance. It essentially causes Aquaman to go into a severe form of dehydration. Next is the electromagnetic nerve tree, used against Cyborg, which sends out electromagnetic pulses onto Cyborg's nerves, incapacitating his mechanical functions. There's also the citrine neuralizer, a mechanism for the Green Lantern that prevents him from using his ring. The name is kind of stolen from the Men in Black series, and it uses like yellow flashing lights. Then there's the Red Giant, which are the knuckles of the Justice Busters, containing red sun particles from dead solar systems, which is a weakness for Superman. They also have plasma shields and thrust and thermal, also for Superman's other abilities. Whereas the Hellbat suit, created by the Justice League for Batman, improves the wearer's speed, strength, durability, can turn the wearer invisible, shoot powerful blasts of energy, fly, has a complex AI system, and due to the nanotech, it can divide and multiply and regrow almost like a living creature. Having either of these suits would be extremely valuable even if you couldn't recreate them to the fullest extent, as whoever owns them can essentially have their own super soldier. That would be worth any company's net worth, any country's GDP, it doesn't matter what it is. Being a superhero this way through money? So I can't exactly calculate how much they would cost for the suits. But in total, everything else, Batman is worth $570,384,240,000, with the majority of it coming from the estimation that the market cap of Wayne Enterprises is $1 trillion, and that he owns 57% of it. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the content and want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe.